So in my 20s and my 30s, I loved to go to the movies. And like, I would go to the movies all the time, even if it was a movie I didn't really want to see or wasn't that excited about. And I would regret it. And then I had this epiphany. I asked myself the question, do I really want to go to the movies, or do I just want to eat Milk Duds and popcorn? Because as a child, I never was allowed snacks. It was a Gen X thing. Like, I don't know. Anyway, we didn't get to eat. Candy wasn't a thing. Snacks were not a thing. So once I discovered that I didn't have to go to the movies to have Milk Duds and popcorn, I had Milk Duds and popcorn a lot more often. And honestly, it was a lot less expensive and time consuming, but higher calorie count, obviously. So that's what I am talking about today. And this very first, it's not really the first video on this channel, but it's the first video in which I am intentionally talking about my sobriety journey and our collective sobriety journey. If you're over 50, our collective experiences and our individual experiences make sobriety, I don't want to say easier, but I think that it makes it certainly more interesting. And I'm Island Punk, and I got sober around 29 or 30, and I was sober for 20 years, and then I went back to drinking during COVID, and I drank for 5 years, and I am now retired and on a sobriety path again. And I started this channel to share that path with you, because I don't have to do this alone, and you don't have to do it alone. We can help each other. So today, what I'm going to talk about is why I believe being over 50 and being on the sobriety path is, I don't want to say easier, because that just sets us up for judgment, but I do want to say it's far more interesting or spectacular. So stick around if that floats your boat. So over 50, like me, you've had some experiences that you can draw on that will be helpful on our sobriety paths. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is the experiences that we have because we're older that are unique, that we can draw upon and use as tools. So the very first one is we hopefully by this time have let go of our all or nothing black and white thinking. Remember in our 20s and 30s how we would just be like, if I can't have that, I don't want anything. Or if I don't get the best, I don't want it. You know, it was my way or the highway, and it was just good or bad. It was just very cut and dry, and we didn't really understand the subtle, nuanced versions of life. We wanted things to be easy and clean, and in reality they're not. You know, not drinking doesn't keep you from making mistakes. I have made plenty of mistakes while I'm sober, but drinking does not improve your odds. Okay, not drinking doesn't mean that you are healthy, but drinking certainly will get you to a much unhealthy place quicker. So there's just a lot of nuance that I think over 50 gives us. The second thing is that we know when enough is enough. We've had enough relationships to know what done looks like, and not just what it looks like, but having gone through the process of being done with a lot of things, you know, and knowing that, you know, packing up and putting things away and letting go of relationships or jobs or whatever it is, you get through it, and there is a period of grief and a letting go, but then, you know, you move on, and that's a plus, because in my 20s and my 30s, like, I was always very afraid when I was done. I was never going to be happy again. I was never going to find joy again. Life was never going to be worth anything again when I was going through those situations. And in reality, that's not true. Another reason for sobriety over 50 is that our excuses are very old. Like, you know, they're tired. It's time to put them away. And we know it. We know excuse when we hear it. And we're just done with them. One of the best reasons that over 50 sobriety is far more interesting is that we have less to prove, right? We don't need to prove that we are a great lover, or that we're a great worker, or that we can make money, or that we could spend money, or that we have good taste, or that we're smart, or that we're beautiful. We don't have to give a fuck about any of that. And that's liberating. And when we don't have that to prove, that's just that much less to be anxious over. And letting those things go gives a lot more freedom in our lives to care about things that really do matter, like, you know, the birds, the people in our lives, going for a walk, whether we make it to our exercise class, or, you know, somebody's birthday, talking to somebody on the phone, encouraging somebody, caring about somebody. Whether the flowers are getting all of the nutrition that they need, whether the tree is going to bloom. They're important things in life. Less to prove, but more to say. Now, you know, there's a lot of people at this stage in life, they're like, I ain't got nothing to prove and I ain't got nothing to say about it. I totally get that. But I do find that I have more to say, but that doesn't mean I'm not just all about me. Like, listening is important too. Another point about being over 50 is that we've raised kids and we've discussed with them how life is not fair, that the rules change, that human beings are deeply flawed. We don't always get what we want. Sometimes the things we want are not the things that are best for us. And if we get them, they ultimately are disappointing or even harmful to us. And so we've had these discussions, we've seen these things play out in the lives of the people that we love, and we can turn around and apply them to ourselves as well. We can handle dual roles of a person who maybe wants to pick up a drink because we're feeling bored or uncomfortable. And we can turn around and say, you know, pause for a bit here. Think about this. Do you really want to leave the sobriety path, or are you just feeling bored and uncomfortable right now? Because there are other ways for you to deal with those feelings than to throw away your path, or to leave the path that you're on. Because we've been down the drinking path for years, and it's just not that satisfying. All right, so last one is that we've seen how this story ends. This story ends with cirrhosis, with financial ruin, with even if we don't get cirrhosis, that's what's going to happen, but just the health consequences of drinking. Our bodies can't handle it, and we know it. The fork in the road is right in front of us. It's not in the distance, it's right here. And the cost is so great that every day that we get up and pick up, we are throwing away one of the last few days that we have on this very short journey. So when I have an urge to drink, I just ask myself, what do you want to do? Do you want to throw away the path that you're on? Do you want to leave the path that you're on? Or do you just want to alleviate these feelings? Because if you just want to alleviate the boredom or the uncertainty or the anxiety, there are a lot better ways to do that. And then I go to a channel that I have, and I watch a video that reminds me of the different tools that I have. I buy myself a little bit at a time, and the feelings pass. So, like popcorn and the movies, what linked activities do you have with drinking, and how do you separate those? Just like going out to eat and drinking, or listening to going out to a concert and drinking. Like, what do? Do you stop doing those activities, or do you unlink them by putting in some boundaries and establishing new patterns of behavior? So I'm interested in your thoughts on that, and we'll talk about this some more. Like I said in the beginning, when we encourage each other, we encourage ourselves. And that is the purpose of this channel. If you're thinking about getting sober, or if you are on your sober journey, I hope that this was helpful to you. My goal is to post one of these videos every day for 30 days as an experiment to see how it affects my own sobriety journey. And if it is helpful to you, that's just that much more of a bonus. Thank you for showing up today. And if this was helpful, please like and subscribe. Until next time, we got this.